Welcome to the MudRoom, our free Uncommon Sense parenting class. How is everybody today? Are you finally feeling a little bit more settled into your school routine as the year gets underway? I sure hope so. It always surprised me when my kids were younger how much the school year impacted our routines, even though they weren't in school or care at that point. I also hope that you're ready for spooky season. I would love to know what your little one is planning to be for Halloween, so make sure you drop into the parenting posse to tell me, because I love nothing more than littles in costumes. It's just so cute. So now the kids are back in school, daycare, etc. I'm hearing a lot of parents struggling with social skills. Do you sometimes watch in bafflement as your little one clings to you, refusing to join in with the other kids in the sandbox? Or maybe they're the type that's bowling over their buddies to get to the toy that they want. You gotta love the challenges of toddlerhood and early childhood, a mix of unbridled energy, raw emotions, and ever-evolving social skills. And I get it, the roller coaster of emotions when your preschooler doesn't share, or when they're the last ones left in the playgroup corner, unsure of how to join in, are large. Navigating the social dynamics of early childhood can feel like unraveling a mystery without any clues. But here's the kicker. You're not alone. And there's a map to this maze. From understanding the foundations of early friendships to teaching kids about feelings, boundaries, and collaboration, today we're going to shed light on how to cultivate those essential social skills. Because today's Playdate squabbles are tomorrow's teamwork, empathy, and relationship building lessons. Parents from all walks of life come to me, each with their own set of challenges, be it toddler defiance, emotional whirlwinds, or playground politics. What unites everyone is the quest for tools and insights that make parenting smoother and more rewarding. Before we get into it, though, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Allana Robinson, and I'm a parenting coach for parents of toddlers, preschoolers, and kindergartners. I help you understand why your kids are misbehaving and how to fix it without stickers, counting to 3, or losing your shit. I'm your host here on the MudRoom. I'm also the host of the Parenting Posse Facebook group, and I'm the creator of the Parentability program, where I teach you to raise confident, calm, competent kids who listen. While you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe, because we've got to work with that algorithm and make sure that you don't miss any future classes, and other parents who need us can find us. So a like, a comment, a share, all of those things are greatly appreciated to help boost the signal. All right, let's kick off with the core stages of play for our toddlers and preschoolers. So first up, we have solo play, which is from about birth to 2 years old. Remember those days when your baby was fascinated by just about anything? A rattle, their own fingers, even a piece of fluff? This is their introduction to the world, a crucial stage where they're exploring primarily on their own. Even when they're playing with you, it's more like they're exploring you. You see it as playing peekaboo, they see it as figuring out where mom is. Then we transition into parallel play around 2 to 3 years old. Have you ever watched a toddler play next to another child, seemingly in their own little world? They may not be playing together yet, but this side-by-side play is a foundational step in their social journey. As they grow, we see associative play emerge around 3 to 4 years old. This is that beautiful phase where your child begins to interact more with others. They'll play with shared toys, maybe chat about the toys, but each child is still following their own plot line. This can be a bit confusing to many parents, so think of it like this. If 2 kids are sword fighting together and one knocks the sword out of the other's hand, if they're in the associative play stage, the child who lost their sword is going to get upset and say, "Hey, I was playing with that." Or if they're playing house and one is feeding a baby and the other is making food at the stove, they're using the same toys in the same space, playing the same basic game, maybe even talking about mommy feeding the baby and daddy making dinner before he goes to work, but they aren't playing together. The child being mommy is following her own ideas, and the child playing daddy is following theirs. One last example would be kids playing superheroes. They all agree on who is Batman, who is Spider-Man, who is Superman, who is Captain Marvel, but then they all go and fight their own bad guys in battles. They aren't fighting together as a cohesive unit. Finally, we have cooperative play, and that shows up usually around 4.5 to 5.5. This stage is a game changer. Kids start to collaborate, sharing both toys and ideas. It's the dawn of genuine friendships, group games, and shared adventures. Kids playing house in this stage are all following the same plot. If someone gets their sword knocked out of their hand, they go into hand-to-hand combat because they see it as a feature of the shared game. They work together as superheroes to battle one collective enemy. If you want to learn more about play stages, I have an entire episode on that, and I'll link it in the show notes. Play stages influence so much, and it's why mixed age groupings of young kids can be difficult because they're all in different stages of play. An older child can play down, meaning they can mimic the play stage of a younger child, but younger children cannot play up to the stage of older children. Now, understanding these stages is great, but let's dive into the journey of social skills. Take sharing as an example. Initially, it's a tug of war over who gets the biggest toy. Young children under the age of 4 cannot share, which means all the reminders you've been giving your toddler to share with their peers are solely for your benefit. They cannot developmentally do it. But with time, guidance, and patience, it evolves into an act of willingly sharing a game or idea or a fun story. And those first friendships, they're the foundation stones for relationships in the future. Every playdate, every shared laugh or tear is nurturing the idea of camaraderie and connection. But as parents, we often wonder, when do we step in? And it's a dance, really. Sometimes we guide, sometimes we let them lead, allowing them to resolve minor squabbles on their own. When we do step in, try to keep the focus on problem solving rather than disciplining your child. These instances are golden opportunities for us to model collaboration, listening to our play partner, and consent. Part of the power of understanding these play stages is that they can be helpful in figuring out if your child's social development is typical or not. If you have a 4-year-old who isn't playing associatively yet, that might be a red flag. And if you're ever in doubt, always remember, professionals are here to help. There are many screenings online for developmental concerns. If you don't know what you're concerned about, or you just know something is off, a parenting coach like myself is a great resource. We can help define for you what, if anything, about your child's behavior is concerning and guide you on what evaluations and evidence to bring to speak with your doctor. One of the best ways to get a quick care for your child is to be educated and know what to ask for. Now, let's shift into some common playdate struggles. Playdates always felt like a double-edged sword to me because on the one hand, my kiddos had another small person to entertain them and interact with them for an hour or two. On the other, they never, ever went smoothly. The other mom and I could never just sit down and have coffee because one of these issues popped up from one or both of us. So first and foremost, I want you to know that while yes, these situations can feel embarrassing or uncomfortable, even downright frustrating a lot of the time, they're typical. And with the right support, our kids will learn the skills to navigate these situations on their own. First off, let's chat about the infamous mine phase. If you've ever heard your toddler shout, "Mine!" at the top of their lungs, you're not alone. It's a developmental phase where they start to understand ownership, but often everything is theirs. The trick here isn't to scold, but to guide. Gentle reminders that they can ask for a turn, that the other child will hand it over when they're done, can ease them out of this phase. If it ends in a meltdown, that's okay. This is a very difficult stage for toddlers. They don't know how this ownership thing works yet, so they're going to have big feelings about it. Remember to empathize while still holding the boundary, giving them lots of co-regulation to help them calm down. What about those toy tips, though? It's not just about who gets the red truck. It's about learning to navigate desires and disappointments. Whenever possible, have duplicates of high-interest toys. Remember, toddlers and even young preschoolers really cannot share. It's not a moral failing, it's their play stage. So they can't equally use the same resources, and trying to force it generally ends pretty poorly. So if you know there's a hot item in your playroom, double up. If you can't double up, lean on the turn-taking rules. If you'd like to learn more about how to teach turn-taking and why it's superior to sharing, I have an episode on that too. Next, we have personal space and boundaries. Just like adults, we value our personal bubbles, and kids do too. It's essential to teach them about respecting space, theirs and others. Teach them what it means when someone says back up. Again, most parents think that their little ones should naturally understand this, but in my experience, most toddlers and preschoolers do not in fact understand what they should do when they're told to back up. I generally teach them to put their arms out straight in front of them and back up so they aren't touching anyone. Or to back up until when they swing their arms, they don't hit anyone. That one's a little bit more advanced though, because it generally will result in someone getting smacked if they don't understand the concept of backing up first. For playdates, I often like to use a visual boundary like a hula hoop. This helps kids to see that if toys are in the hoop, they need to ask before they take them. And if toys are in their hoop, someone has to ask them before taking them. This is especially helpful for kiddos in parallel and associative play stages. To drive these points home, role-playing is the perfect tool. Little ones learn through experience and repetition, so we want to give them lots of opportunities to try and fail safely. Before going on a playdate, practice backing up, stopping, and asking for a turn. And if things don't go as planned, graceful exits are the key. Teach your child to always say thank you or goodbye after a playdate, focusing on the fun moments, not the mishaps. When my kids were playdate age, I never planned to stay more than 2 hours. After that, most toddlers and preschoolers are more than done. Not stretching your luck goes a long way. So before we wrap this up, let me share with you some simple activities that you can do with your little one, either on their own or in a group, to help foster that spirit of cooperation and collaboration without having to push them beyond their play state. So let's kick things off with a family favorite. Emotion charades! Have your kiddo act out different feelings: excitement, sadness, surprise. Often I'll pair this with emotion identification in a book or one of their favorite shows. We'll pause on a page or a scene where the character is clearly displaying an emotion, and I'll have the child identify it and then act it out. It's not just fun, it's a fantastic way for them to recognize and empathize with emotions. The first step to being able to manage our emotions is having a label for them. You can't think about what frustrated you and how to navigate it if you don't have the word frustrated to label the sensations you're experiencing. So this is a great and simple activity that you can do just about anywhere to support that development. My next favorite is puzzles. Have you ever tried sharing puzzles? It's more than just fitting pieces together. As they work on a puzzle as a team, they're practicing cooperation, patience, and the joy of a shared achievement. Start with very big, simple puzzles where you're facilitating the placement of pieces, and as they master it, work up to more complex puzzles where they're contributing to directly assembling it. And for a dose of giggles and insights, the walk in their shoes game has always been a hit. Role reversal games where you act like your child and they act like you. It's hilarious, and it teaches perspective taking in the most delightful way. Games like these aren't just for fun, they're life lessons in disguise. Think about classic board games like Candyland or Chutes and Ladders. They're not just about reaching the end. They're lessons in waiting one's turn, handling the ups and downs, and celebrating every small win. Simple sports also work fantastically for supporting this learning. Whether it's a game of catch or tag, it's not about who's fastest, but about enjoying the game and understanding the essence of sportsmanship. And again, if it doesn't go well, that doesn't mean your child has failed. As parents, we need to stop seeing these tiffs as failures. Failure is an essential part of learning. The more your child fails, the better they get at the skills you're teaching. So if tag ends in tears, it wasn't a lost cause, they're still learning a lot. A less physical variation on tag games is group storytelling. So in group storytelling, each person, young or old, adds a sentence, weaving a tale together. It emphasizes listening, creativity, and the joy of collective imagination. This one is a bit more advanced. It works better with kids who are 4 or over, but I've also done this with little ones where I'll say a sentence and then pause and let them fill in a word that's pivotal to the direction of the story. So for instance, once upon a time there was a, and let them decide what the story is about. And finally, reading isn't just for bedtime routine, it's a journey into understanding feelings, friendships, and more. Dive into books that resonate with themes of sharing and empathy. Titles like Share Big Bear Share or How Do Dinosaurs Play with Their Friends are treasures that spark essential conversations. After reading, have a story discussion. Ask your child how the characters felt, what they would do in that situation, and explore the story's morals. Often using characters in a book is a great way to add in that degree of separation and lets us get the conversation moving without it feeling like we're reprimanding them. In a world filled with playdates, toy tiffs, and the ever-evolving social dynamics of early childhood, cultivating essential social skills in our little ones can feel like unraveling a mystery. But don't you worry, because you're not alone in this journey. I'm here to guide you through the maze of toddlerhood and preschool years. From understanding the core stages of play to navigating the infamous mind stage, these strategies help foster cooperation, empathy, and lifelong friendships. Remember, it's not about forcing your child to share or play a certain way. It's about understanding their developmental stage and providing them with the tools and opportunities to grow at their own pace. So let's embrace the challenges and joys of parenting together. Join me in the MudRoom, our free and common sense parenting classes, and become part of the Parenting Posse on Facebook. If you want more activities and games to foster your child's development and skills, come and join us in Parentability. I have a whole library of these broken down into what skills they work on, so it's incredibly easy to squeeze some skill building into every day. Together, we navigate the roller coaster of emotions, playground politics, and everything in between. Don't forget to like, comment, and share on this episode to spread the word and help other parents who may be facing similar challenges. And if you ever need more personalized guidance, remember that professionals like myself are here to support you every step of the way. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time for another Uncommon Sense parenting class.